The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
This is the legend. This is the icon. This
is the main event.
This is your main event, Mark's Podcast. I am your host, lifelong wrestling fan, former radio guy, cat and dog dad, and if there's one thing for sure about me, it's that I'm going to be delivering great content to you on YouTube and this podcast every single day of the week. I am Troy. And joining me in audio form later on in the show is going to be the WCW Watcher of Classic Wrestling, WWE Walking Wrestling Encyclopedia, and the ECW Encyclopedia of Classic Wrestling. He was the main event collector and figure hunting warrior. He was Greg. Unfortunately, I have to put it in the past tense, because, as I mentioned before, Greg sadly passed away last year, but we keep his memory alive right here on the Main Event Marks every single time I post an episode. And I would like to tell you all that today, not only am I continuing to honor my best friend by keeping his memory alive in audio form, but we are also honoring the newly retired, the legend, the icon, Sting! That's right. He retired at AEW Revolution 2024. I talked all about that match last week. I hope you enjoyed that audio as well as the audio I put together of Greg and I reviewing some moments of his that we talked about previously with him versus Vader and him versus Ric Flair and their various feuds throughout the history of NWA and WCW. We went from the late 80s all the way into the early 90s. I think 95 was actually the last thing that we covered. And we're going back to 95 to open up today, but I'll get into that here in a bit. After hearing last week's episode, maybe all of you went back in the archives and listened to the full shows, because the lovely AI voice lady before each event that we talk about was announcing exactly what event we were about to be talking about. So if you were interested enough, you could go back and hear the whole show. It's in the archives right here, wherever you're listening to this, whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Megaphone, YouTube, Rumble. Rumble does unfortunately not have the full archives, but Rumble listeners, we do have some of the archives here. We started the Rumble account when we were, I think, 2 years into our podcast history of 3 years, I believe, because we started in spring of 2020, or June, rather, of 2020, and we went until late 2023. I think our last brand new episode was October. I want to say October. I without looking at it right in front of me, but you can go back and listen. I think I started it in 2022 with the podcast archives. I could be wrong, but at least by 2023. But you can go back anywhere else and check out the full archives. Like I said, Megaphone, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and of course, YouTube. YouTube is my favorite because you get the visualizations as well, right along with the audio, and you can see the thumbnails that I created for each episode. I started getting a little bit more creative at the end of year one, so go check that out. But this is our second of probably 3 episodes for Thank You Sting. Last week, I was cutting up audio, and I thought I could get all of our Sting content into one episode, and then I went, wow, this is a lot. So I decided to split it up by feud. So last week, you got Vader and Ric Flair, which are 2 of his most popular feuds ever, and this week is one single feud. There was a lot to it that we actually recorded, and so it's going to make one single episode, and it was also one of his most prolific feuds. This was the feud that turned Sting from the surfer Sting, if you will, with the neon colors and whatnot, into the Sting that we all know and love as the Crow Sting. This feud actually started technically in 1996, and that's, 1996. We're going back to 1995 because they were in a match together, and I'll explain it all here in the podcast, or we will. But you'll follow Sting versus Hulk Hogan from 1995 all the way until, I forget when the very last show, I think 1999 is the last show that we cover here. This feud went on through a lot of WCW, if you think about it, and they were on the same side a few times, and they were against each other quite a bit. This feud even continued on into TNA, if anybody remembers that, and that wasn't the best, obviously, in TNA, but we did get Joker Sting out of it, so that was cool. But we're going to be starting off here, going back to 1995 to dive into Sting and Hulk Hogan before he becomes Hollywood Hulk Hogan. And obviously in 1996, at Bash of the Beach 1996, that's when crap really gets going, and you pull the line on the lawnmower and really get it going. And the NWO forms. Hollywood Hulk Hogan is his name, and we're off to the races. And before long, we'd see Crow Sting, which is, in my opinion, the most prolific Sting, my favorite Sting, personally. So let's get into all of that, going back to Fall Brawl 1995.
WCW Fall Brawl 1995.
They then show a normal promo for Hogan's team, and they say that Vader, quote, went AWOL. So Sting voted for Lex Luger to be a part of the team because they're best buds. However, they don't know if he can be trusted. Because keep in mind, he's new to WCW at the time, and he just had a feud with Hulk Hogan, or had a match against him on Nitro that we covered in the news. So all this is going on at the time. The story of the match, as far as from the babyface side, is, can we trust Luger? So that's going on. But backstage, we have one more thing. It's the promos, man. Mean Gene Okerlund is interviewing the painted-up, battle-ready Hulkamaniacs. I dug the way they looked. I mean,
I did too.
It was very old school.
I made a note too. I was like, this is funny. Within a half a year's time, this is not the first time that Luger, Sting, and Savage be face painted going to war, but this time against Hogan.
Right, yeah. Well, and this one, Sting actually, he didn't wear his traditional style face paint. He wore like complete camo face paint, like he was actually going to war. It was pretty cool looking.
Yeah, it was.
Hulk Hogan says that they just drank a couple gallons of Agent Orange. That's not
What
advisable.
the hell is that?
Agent Orange is a herbicide, and I can't pronounce that word. Either way, it's a chemical. One of the tactical use rainbow herbicides. It was widely known by use of the U.S. military as part of the chemical warfare program, Operation Ranch Hand, during the Vietnam War. So, yeah. So, according to Hulk Hogan, they drink a ton of that. Yeah. According to Hulk Hogan, they drink a ton of that. That's why I said that's not advisable. He then said that this makes them impervious to pain. This makes me question if Hogan knows how Agent Orange works. Macho Man says that they're a united front. Sting says that he doesn't want to talk. He just wants to go to war. And I noticed this was a trend a lot for Sting during this time period. Did you notice that?
Now I do.
He cut a lot of promos during this time period where he's like, I don't have anything to say, Gene. I just want to go out and kick some butt. Woo! Like, he just did that a lot. Or he would stumble over his words and end up saying, I don't have anything to say. Woo! The Luger's... This makes me think Sting was not a good promo back in the day.
Luger says, speaking in the ring, clearly.
Yeah, that is true. The Luger says that his camo is on and he's completely with the team. Hogan says that he looked Luger in the eye and he could tell he's, quote, American made from head to toe, end quote. Which I guess this means that he's trustworthy if he's American made. I mean, I mean, at least it's not made in China, because we all know that if your product is made in China, 50-50, it's going to break within a month. But that's beside the point.
Leaving that alone.
And that's not a racist remark. It's a remark on the quality of the products coming out of that country. But regardless.
Leaving that alone.
Jimmy Hart then says something looking like a goofy cartoon character like he always does. We're ready for war, baby. It's going down in double cage tonight, baby. Ha ha ha. Wow. Well, I had to get one Jimmy Hart impression in there. But that's always on our bonus shows. Why am I always doing Jimmy Hart on the bonus shows?
Because the people on YouTube appreciate it.
Hell yeah, they do. Everybody should appreciate Jimmy Hart. He is a living, breathing cartoon character. Come on down to Jimmy Hart.
No, that's Jim Cornette. But...
Wow. Jimmy Hart's beach hut, baby. Get some beans and taters. Beans and taters. Woo!
That sounds disgusting. Beans and taters.
That's what he always. Apparently, that's how he always pimped his beach hut. And he's like, "We got cold beer in a can, baby. It's not in the glass. It's a can. Because we're on the beach, baby. Woo!" I don't know why I always say "woo" for Jimmy Hart. He never said "woo" in his life, but that's my thing now. As Hogan's talking, Sting runs by the camera, repeatedly going "woo."
Yeah.
This was great.
He's firing him up, dude.
Yeah, I just love like Hogan's talking. Sting just walks by every so often. Woo! Mean Gene calls Zodiac the Zodiac Man. I don't know if that was his nickname or if Gene just gave up and didn't give a damn what he was called. But we're finally here, man. The main event. It's the Hulkamaniacs. The team is Hulk Hogan, Sting, Macho Man, and Lex Luger. They have Jimmy Hart in their corner. They're taking on the Dungeon of Doom, which is represented by. Hold on to your ass for this one. this first name, and I know he just passed, so I'm sorry, but seriously.
Hold on. Let's just put a disclaimer. No one's making fun of the person. Okay, let's get that out there.
No, but this is 1995, and this team is represented by, first of all, Kamala, Meng, the Shark, and Zodiac. All of which are former. I mean, you've got Kamala, the Ugandan giant. You've got Haku, or King Haku, whatever. You've got Earthquake, and you've got Bruce the effing Barber Beefcake. And if you look at the other side of the ring, you got Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, and Lex Luger. The only non-WWF guy in this match is Sting. I mean, if you want to count the Taskmaster, because he's in the corner. Taskmaster's in the corner of the Dungeon of Doom. The stipulation of this match is if Hogan if the Hulkamaniacs win, Hogan gets like 5 minutes in the cage alone with Taskmaster, which sounds a little creepy. Where it's like, if I win, I get you alone.
Oh, nobody said it like that. Creepy ass dude.
But this match went for 18 minutes 47 seconds. The Shark is being announced as being over 540 pounds, even though Kamala looks much bigger than him at this point. Look, I get the embellishment, but 540, come on now. I don't know. Meng is now announced as Meng, the Face of Terror. All right. For some reason, Macho Man has white tape wrapped around the legs of his pants. I guess it's to hold him on. I don't know. This was a weird look for him.
You catch the weirdest stuff.
I was like, why did he wrap tape around his legs? It's just weird. To start the match, it's Sting and Shark. Yeah, I know. But at one point, Shark goes...
of course it's going to be Shark. The Sting one should just
because when I think of the Iron Man for the team, Greg, I think John Tenta.
Again, not crapping on person.
No. At one point, Shark goes to the other ring, and Sting leaps over both ropes with a clothesline. That was probably the coolest thing of this entire match. Shark was blown up within the first 5 minutes. He just sweating like a hog and just sucking wind. I was like, dang, dude. Sting locks in the Scorpion Deathlock when the Zodiac gets in next. It was cool to see Sting hang off the top of the cage and kick him. That was kind of cool. Just spoiler, Sting did the coolest stuff in the entire match.
You don't say.
Shark eventually helps Zodiac double team Sting. Sting just gets basically dominated until Macho Man comes in. Kamal is next in for the Dungeon of Doom. Lex Luger is next in and cleans house, but accidentally hits Savage. Sting tries to hold them back from a brawl. Meng is next in for the Dungeon, so that gives him his opening to take out the baby faces. This is the first show of 1995 where Meng actually gets custom tights and full face paint. Before here, he was wrestling in a suit. You remember that?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, so he was looking like the original Big Bubba Rogers. Hogan.
We don't need two Big Bubbas, pal.
Yeah, Big Bubba and Big Meng. Hogan is the last in, and he powders everybody in the eyes like a true baby face.
Because Hogan's a face.
Exactly. Back raking, powder in the eyes, baby face.
Did we also, before we go on, did we laugh at the fact that the heels won the coin toss again?
Yeah, we really need to add this up, Greg. I mean, there's got to be some.
They're using rigged coins or something.
Yeah, there's got to be some funny business going on here because I remember the Horsemen winning every single coin toss, and that can't be right. But either way, it's almost like it's a work, Greg. Just perish the thought.
Wow.
Later, to show that he's a true babyface, Sting powders someone in the face too. Hogan ends up locking Zodiac in the camel clutch. Yes, Hogan did a camel clutch. I wait for the irony. And
Yeah,
Zodiac,
cheeky baby.
but I don't think he broke Brutus's back and made him hombre. But Zodiac keeps shouting, yes, no, because that's his gimmick. He apparently can't make it up his mind. Finally, the referee just says, F it, and he calls for the bell. This match was quite literally 4 fit, muscled, tan baby faces taking on 2 in-shape guys and 2 fat, older guys. Didn't you notice that?
I mean, no, but I guess I should have.
Everybody.
Also, I believe everybody on the other team was like legit Hogan's friend. That's what Bischoff said.
Yeah.
Like, Hogan only want to work with his friends. Like, that's different from the Clique. How?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Hogan's group was a lot bigger, obviously. I mean, that in a couple of ways.
Well, if you look at it, Hogan, Sting, Macho Man, Luger, big, tan, muscle-bound. And
Arcade's coming up, dude.
Wow. And as much as I crap on Brutus Beefcake, he was always in phenomenal shape and had an impeccable tan. And then you look Kamala, the Shark, big fat, and then Meng was like, he wasn't big fat, but he wasn't like, nobody would ever be like, oh man, he looks like Mr. Universe,
No, but he also went fat to his face, you might kill them, so.
Yeah, bite your nose off for real. I said it just wasn't super great. The quote match beyond didn't last very long, about what I expected. The match type saved it, I feel, for me anyway, because I love War Games matches. Uncle Dave gave it 1 1/4 star. I gave it 2.5 stars for average. What say you?
I had a lot of fun watching this match. I thought it was 3 stars. I thought it was really fun. I kind of like the pacing of who they brought into the match at each interval. Yeah, I loved it. Not to where I was like, it's amazing, but I had a lot of fun watching it, and I was never bored. A lot of action.
I don't think it sucked. I'll say that. I mean, I haven't went back and watched every War Games match, so I can't really judge. I'm going to say the worst one was probably that one where they completely changed the rules and it just had it in a regular. Then they have it in the 3-tier cage or some crap.
Yeah, War Games 2000. But told me you didn't like that one. That was amazing. Vince Russo was in that one.
Do you want to stab him now or later? Hot damn, dude.
Let's do it now. Get it over with.
So anyway, after the match, Taskmaster tries to leave, but security makes him go back to the cage. Sting grabs him and throws him into the cage. Hogan ping-pong balls Taskmaster off the cage over and over. Uncle Dave
he legit split him open, too.
Oh, I'm sure he did. Uncle Dave crapped on this a little bit because he was like, Hogan's beating on him like he's just some, like, nameless jobber or a manager or something where, the Taskmaster...
He's a nameless booker man.
But it's like, at this time, Taskmaster was like a legit active wrestler having, like, matches constantly, and Hogan's just, like, beating the tar out of him. But I don't know. He's like half
funny,
Hogan.
brother.
Judging by Sullivan's size, I think Hogan's crapped bigger things than Kevin Sullivan. But I don't know.
Wow, you said that.
But he beats him outside of the cage and then back inside of the cage. Uncle Dave also said this had no heat because nobody cares about Sullivan.
I have to agree with him on that one. I never
liked Kevin Sullivan.
Wow, what the hell?
I beat you to it. We might get some hate for that one.
It can't be good that we both said that like in stereo.
In his defense, I have never watched any of his stuff from Florida, ever. So I don't know if, like, I heard he did great stuff down there and had a ton of heat with Purple Haze. I don't know. I never watched it. I don't care about it. I mean, kudos to him, but I was never a Sullivan fan. And I
never saw anything in him other than him being the guy outside.
No, yeah, I'm right there with you. Well, the thing with, I don't know if, some people might crap on me for saying this, but it kind of ruins the illusion of, oh, he's this devil worshiper from Singapore or whatever. Meanwhile, he's talking like this. I got a line on the socks. Like, it blew the illusion for me.
Don't you know that all Bostonians are devil worshippers, apparently?
Finally, the Giant comes out and moves referee Randy Anderson aside so that he can get into the cage. It's kind of funny.
I'm sorry. What I heard was, finally, the Giant comes out.
Yeah. Well, it puts an end to this, at least.
The way you said that, though, it's like, oh, finally, that's what this whole night's been missing.
Well, yeah. It's not quite the dry humping yet, but we'll get to that in a month. Hogan tries fighting off the Giant, but the Giant is not selling for him. Giant chokes him and then, quote, snaps his neck. We literally just talked about Zeus doing this to him on our Saturday Night's Main Event episode.
That seems to be the thing. You want to be Hulkamania, you got to snap his neck. Bro, we're going to break his neck, bro.
I want to say he's had this done to him a few times, like another time too, but I could be mistaken. I don't remember.
Could think of Zeus, Giant. I'm pretty sure Earthquake did it too.
Oh, good lord. But the
The Shark, for those of you keeping score.
Shut up. The Hulkamaniacs rush the cage again, but the Giant and the Taskmaster take off. They're acting like Hogan is dead, and even Michael Buffer gets on the mic and says that they need some paramedics at ringside.
Meanwhile, by the way, Bobby Heenan is losing his crap.
Yeah, he's cackling like a Wicked Witch of the West.
I've been saying it for years. Hogan's dead. Like,
yeah,
dude.
You're laughing that this guy is literally might be dead or at the very least paralyzed.
Oh,
like,
man.
for God's sake. That's some dark, this took a dark turn, man.
WCW Bash at the Beach 1996.
Backstage, Mean Gene Okerlund is standing by with Sting, Lex Luger, and the Macho Man Randy Savage. There's a lot of man meat involved in this one, man. Tan, oiled, and psychotic.
And painted up.
Hell yeah. All three of them are wearing face paint. They look pretty cool. I kick myself because I never got the 3-pack of these guys with this look. But Savage says that he doesn't care who the third man is because he'll get hurt just like he's going to hurt Nash and Hall. Luger then says that he's prepared for the Outsiders, and tonight, actions speak louder than words, even though he laid out a lot of actions that the Outsiders have taken. So, I think their actions have already spoken, but regardless. Sting cuts a really weird promo about having goosebumps all over his body, the Macho Man having goosebumps, and how they're all pumped up for tonight. Dude, Sting's promos were weird, man.
Well, he did start out with Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, I just, I don't know, all these retro, going back and watching these in retrospect, I'm like, Sting was just a weird-ass promo.
I remember watching this one live, this part right here, being like, oh, Luger's the third man. Action speaks louder than words.
Right.
I knew it was Luger at this point.
Right.
In my heart of hearts.
Yeah, and all honesty, looking back at this, if I were watching this live, back then, I would have thought, it's definitely Luger. There's so many signs that it's Luger.
Well, building up to this, too, he was kind of like a heel for a while. All of a sudden, he just randomly faced when they put him in this match. So.
Well, and do you remember, just less than a year before this, there was a thing where he got thrown into the War Games match, and they were like, I don't know if we can trust him. And there was, a big thing there.
And they didn't. They couldn't trust him because he ended up turning.
Yeah, right, yeah. So, I mean, it was... And then, well, we'll get into it when we get into the match, but yeah, it's just I would have believed. I was like, it's definitely freaking Luger. I'm glad it wasn't, but, it looked like it was going to be. So kudos to them for building it up so well. After the Outsiders come to the ring, Mean Gene Okerlund comes down to talk to ring announcer Michael Buffer, and then interview Nash and Hall. Okerlund asks who the third man is. Hall's still doing his Cuban accent, calling Gene Chico. So obviously that lawsuit hadn't hit him that hard at this point.
Or he got drunk and didn't get the memo. Let's not jump to any conclusions here.
Good lord. Both he and Nash
I'm a huge Scott Hall fan, you know that. So.
Yeah. But both he and Nash say that the third man is in the building and he'll be at the ring eventually before telling Gene to hit the bricks. So this next match is the Outsiders of Kevin Nash and Scott Hall and a mystery third man. Who's that third man? Taking on
You got enough right here for now.
Taking on Sting, Lex Luger, and the Macho Man Randy Savage, all painted up. It's a 6-man tag match. It went 16 minutes. The crowd clearly paid for this match because they are electric as hell as soon as Man Called Sting hits the PA system. Did you notice that? Just as soon as Sting's theme hit, they just blew their crap. Other than Sting, by the way, this looks like a 1994 WWE match.
Yeah, right. As much as I like them all being painted, by the way, they look ridiculous, Luger and Savage.
At least they color coordinated, I'll give them that. But Kevin Nash holds Lex Luger in a front face lock over the corner. Sting hits a stinger splash onto him, and then Luger collapses to the outside, knocked out. EMTs come down and load him onto the gurney to take him to the back. So it's now down to 2-on-2. Later in the match, when Savage is in control, Nash low blows him behind the referee's back. Hulk Hogan then comes out and the crowd absolutely blows. Schiavone and Rhodes are happy to see him, but Heenan shouts, "Whose side is he on?" And the Outsiders bail from the ring. So did you catch that when you were watching this live, him yelling that?
I did.
What did you think? Were you like thinking that he was going to turn, or were you thinking it's like, it's Heenan, he's always hated Hogan?
I thought he was going to turn.
Really?
I feel like the moment I saw him come out, it was him. I was like,
wow.
Oh my God, it's him.
See, the crowd...
Because like the thing is, what set it up too is something we didn't mention. Luger gets hurt, taken out. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, he's going to come back out now, and that's what's going to happen. That's what I, in my heart of heart, thought was going to happen.
Yeah, he was going to be the third man. Yeah. So that's what I was alluding to earlier, that it's like, well, clearly Luger was going to be the third man after that. But, or that's what you would think. But no. And when Hogan came out, clearly the crowd thought he was there to save WCW because they blew for him.
There's a couple of, and if anybody hears something in the background, I'm sorry, I'm watching NXT. Clearly a lot of the fans were like, you can see some of them like pointing at each other going like, I told you, like some of them knew it. So,
oh man. I didn't catch that one, but yeah.
Quite a few guys in the crowd.
Well, the Outsiders bail from the ring. Hogan then hits 2 leg drops on Randy Savage before Hall tosses Sting from the ring, and Hogan throws a referee out of the ring. Hogan hits another leg drop and covers Savage as Hall counts to 3. I'm assuming that Team WCW won this via disqualification. They never really made the announcement. Not that it was important.
I assumed it was a draw.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, not that it mattered, but, that is what it is. Uncle Dave gave this 3 stars. As a match, I thought it was average, 2.5. What say you?
I thought the match was decent, but only 2 stars. The real story is what happened after.
Of course. Yeah, the match itself was just to set up things. It was a means to an end, basically. But after the match, the Outsiders do Hogan's ear cup to the crowd as people throw garbage at all 3 men. Mean Gene Okerlund climbs into the ring and asks Hogan what he's thinking. Hogan says that the crowd needs to shut up if they want to hear him. While Mean Gene talks, the Outsiders keep doing Hogan's signature poses to the crowd. I popped. Hogan says that this is the new world order of wrestling, brother. Hogan says that Hall and Nash came from, quote, a great big organization up north. It says that no one knows more about that organization than him. He says that he made that company what it is today, and he made them all rich up there. He says that as far as WCW goes, he's bored, and with Hall and Nash by his side, they're going to destroy the world of wrestling. Mean Gene points out all the trash in the ring, and Hogan says, quote, all this crap in the ring represents all these fans out here. Hogan then says that the fans can take their receptions for him and stick it. He credits himself with giving everyone in WCW a job, getting them paid, and making wrestling what it is today. Tony Schiavone ends the broadcast famously by saying, Hulk Hogan, you can go to hell. We're out of here. Straight to hell.
Classic one.
That end part's what made it for me. Straight to hell. Like, what the hell, dude?
WCW Fall Brawl 1996.
In the opening of this show, we see that NWO has been running roughshod on the WCW without much real pushback from anyone. Finally, we see that Sting has allegedly turned his back on WCW and joined the New World Order.
I remember watching that moment when when quote Sting attacks Luger in the parking lot, and like having just throwing a fit.
Did it break your little heart?
It did.
You're like, oh man,
because nobody can watch, man. Like that's him. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, dude, they really went all out because you couldn't even tell unless you looked right at his face.
Oh yeah, at that time, Jeff Farmer looked damn near identical to Steve Borden. So good for him that somebody was like looking, and they had to be, he had to have been like standing next to Steve Borden in the back, and they're just like looking back and forth, and they're like, hey,
light bulb.
Yeah, right. Kind of like, I guess, I think it was Junkyard Dog was the one that told Arn Anderson for the first time. He's like, I think he told Gene or Ole, one of them. He was like, yeah, it was Ole. He said, hey, this kid looks just like you. You should give him the last name Anderson. He can be your cousin or something. And boom!
Well.
Yeah, right. Marty Lundy becomes Arn Anderson. And in my opinion, the most famous Anderson. I mean, is that really...
Mr. Anderson.
Oh, well, of course. Anderson. And you know what time it is, Greg? Okay.
TiVo time?
No. It's most definitely time for War Games. Which
That's if anyone ever gets really bored, there's a video on YouTube. Someone made he looped it for like 10 minutes straight of him saying Regal saying War Games. It's so stupid, but so damn funny.
Yep, I loved it. Yeah, because he's like, how many years in a row did he get to yell that? And then when they added the women's match, he got to say it twice.
Yep.
There's only one way to solve this. War Games. Like, as if nobody saw that coming. It's like, oh, there's a big brawl heading into November. Whatever shall they do?
There's a big brawl. 8 people are involved. Jeez, I wonder where they're going to go.
Yeah. War Games. Who could have saw that coming? Not like we name our pay-per-view that. Gosh. Anyway, we were at War Games 2019.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, damn good show, by the way.
Kevin Owens returns to NXT, and that was like, when people talk about the Rosemont Horizon, that's what I'm always going to call it, by the way. I'm like, I don't even know what it's called. But when people talk about that place being like the loudest building, we saw it firsthand.
Right.
Kevin Owens came out, dude. My ears popped.
Hell yeah, man. Yep. I lost my voice that night. By the way, for the record, I think it's the Allstate Arena? Is that it?
I think it is Allstate, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, before this match, backstage, Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, and Lex Luger are with Woman and Elizabeth, standing by with Mike Tenay. I didn't catch this at first, but apparently Rick kept calling Mike Tenay Gene. That's funny. Whatever, muscle memory, I guess. But Flair and Arn both say that Sting or no Sting, they're winning tonight. Sting finally walks in, and everyone gets angry, looking like they're about to fight him. Sting says that it wasn't him on Nitro attacking Luger. Luger says that he looked him right in the face, and he knows it was him, and he doesn't believe Sting. Sting says, so be it, and walks off in anger. Oh, man. This was planting the seeds of something epic, man. But all right. Next up, it's the main event. It's the New World Order team of Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hollywood Hogan, and Sting. They have Ted DiBiase in their corner. They're taking on Team WCW, which is Arn Anderson, Ric Flair, Lex Luger, and yes, Sting. It is War Games. It went 18 minutes, 15 seconds. That'll never not be funny. The match starts with Scott Hall and Arn Anderson. Kevin Nash comes in next. Lex Luger enters after that. Hollywood Hogan is next in and instantly gets jumped, but is helped by the Outsiders to fight back. Ric Flair enters third for his team and invites Hogan to meet him in a ring one-on-one. They have a one-on-one brawl for a while before everyone gets involved. Dude, Nash jackknifes Luger at one point, and Luger's feet hit the ceiling. That was scary.
It was like Brian Pillman and Sid back in the day.
Oh my gosh, I know. But in this, because he picks him up, his feet hit the ceiling, and you can tell like Nash is just such an effing man. He's just like he just hoists him up and drops him properly. Unlike what he did to the Giant later on. But anyway, once the timer counts down to 0 for Team WCW, or I'm sorry, first Sting enters for the NWO. But once the timer counts down to 0 for Team WCW,
like little fanfare, by the way, guys, Sting's coming out. Guys, it's Sting. Oh no, Sting's joined. The announcer was like, okay.
Yeah, like what the frick? But when the timer counts down to 0, did he? It looked like they did the timer twice, or was I seeing things?
No, they definitely did it twice.
Okay, I was like, so it counted down to 0. Nobody came out, and then they did the timer again, and the real Sting hauls ass to the ring. He comes in and he goes face to face with imposter Sting, showing that he was telling the truth all along. My God, he clears house before looking at everyone and then leaving. Luger pleads with
Not
Sting.
Not before telling him to stick it up there or something.
Yeah, right. Oh, man. Sit on it and spin. Luger pleads with Sting and as he takes off, ignoring everyone. In the end, Luger is made to submit when Hogan locks in a front face lock, whilst the fake Sting has him in a scorpion death lock. Uncle Dave only gave it a 1 3/4. I give it 2.5 for a, it's War Games. I thought it was average. What say you?
I gave it 3. I loved this one.
I mean, especially with the story, I thought it was great. The in-ring quality was fine. It was obviously wrapped around the story. It did really well. It definitely wasn't one of the worst. Like I said, we reviewed 1995 last year, so go check that out if you must. Which Sting was involved in, by the way. And with Luger, and with Macho Man, and with Hogan, all on one team.
Supposed to be Vader, fun fact.
Yeah, right, yeah. Luger was not supposed to be there, but Luger got the piss beat out of him by Paul Orndorff and Crap Can. So, there's that. The NWO continues to assault Team WCW after the match. Luger gets free and crawls up the entryway, calling out for Sting, apologizing and all that. The NWO runs up and starts assaulting him again before being jumped by the WCW guys. Now the Macho Man now runs out and jumps on Hogan, taking him back to the ring as the War Games cage had been raised. Savage gets the advantage until Giant comes out and chokeslams him. Miss Elizabeth now runs down, attempting to stop Hogan from spray painting on the back of Savage. She even lays on him to protect him. Finally, Hogan spray paints the back of Liz's dress with NWO, and he grabs a mic and says, "These two pieces of crap made a sacred vow to be together till death do us part. And with some help from the New World Order and Hollywood Hogan, they're going to make that happen."
I love that.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, dude. But they
Savage, no pun intended.
I always liked the meme. It was like a little person dressed up like Macho Man, and it said, "Yeah, it's just a little Savage." But anyway, they eventually get Liz off of Randy, hold him down, and spray paint NWO on his back. Hogan then hocks a frickin' loogie into the camera. That always grossed me the hell out. And the Giant chokeslam Savage again. After all of this is said and done, the commentators try to send us home, but the NWO kicks him out of their little area, and they hold up a sign that says this is NWO country, and then they pose and talk junk before we see Savage being helped to the back, and the show comes to an end. Uncle Dave wrapped up his review by saying, "Great undercard wrestling, bad main events, and booking with more holes than Swiss cheese. Welcome to WCW." Sure, Dave.
I can't wait to see Dave's show.
Yeah, I bet he could have booked this much better. Like, remind me if I'm, or correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't it the very next night that Sting comes out, does that promo with his back to the camera the whole time?
I don't remember if it's the next night, but it's definitely close to this.
Okay. And I remember he said something, he was like, well, it's going to be a while before you see the Stinger again, and he leaves, and he said something about the guys in the back can shove it. And then he takes off, and he never once looks at the camera. He has his back to hard cam the whole time. I thought that was kind of cool.
WCW Super Brawl 7.
This one is Hollywood Hulk Hogan defending the WCW World Heavyweight title with Vincent and Ted DiBiase in his corner against Rowdy Roddy Piper. This one went for 10 minutes, 52 seconds. Hogan's apprehensive, but Piper's like a rabid dog going after him. World title matches in WCW.
Can I just say, before we even get into it, I remember vividly going to the Cow Palace for this, and in my mind, knowing Roddy Piper was leaving with the world title.
Oh, yeah.
I know, I probably just spoiled it, and I'm sorry, like 20 years spoilers, but in my heart, I knew he was leaving with that title. Like, it just felt like it.
I wish he would have, not to spoil the ending here if nobody's seen it, but I really wish he would have. Because, man, that would have been awesome to see him with that belt. But, I mean, didn't he win it later for a minute or no?
Never won that. I think he went on to win the U.S. title. That was it. In WCW.
Yeah, I think this would have been the perfect time. Yeah, I think this would have been the perfect time to slap the title on him. But either way.
97, and it's just, it's funny because 2000 gets the rap. Sorry, I'm going to veer off a little bit here, but the 2000 gets the rap for 40 world champions.
Yeah.
97, people got to remember, it was only 2. And you don't have to really count 2 because Luger only held it for 5 days. So I'm like,
Sting at the end of the year.
At the tail end, though, dude, tail end. We're talking 2 days before, maybe 3 days before New Year's, though. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, it would be held up, right? So it's like.
Right.
So did he win it?
I guess.
Point being, though, the world champion was dominated this year.
Yep.
And you can look at it multiple ways, but I think that's a better look for wrestling. Like right now with Roman.
Yeah. Oh,
And
not to get off on a tangent.
So far though, with AEW, they've not passed it around like candy. I got to give them that.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like who they've given it to, but they've not passed it around like candy, so good for them.
Yeah, and Kenny Omega had a long run, so I felt he should have actually make him matter.
I felt like he should have been their first champion. Well, no, Hangman should, but he should have been like that, or him. Yeah.
Yep. But WCW title matches, I felt like never had rules enforced because Piper low blows Hogan right in front of the ref, chokes him multiple times with his T-shirt, and then hit him with a chair. All of this in front of the referee.
Now, Tony Schiavone sometimes would say on commentary, "Oh, the referees be a little lax with the rules."
Yeah, this isn't
so
lax
they
with
did
the
acknowledge
rules.
it. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I am saying they did acknowledge it.
But it's like, this isn't lax with the rules. This is, there are no rules.
Yeah, pretty much.
They also brawled around the ring for way longer than a 10 count, and nothing happened. Sting and Macho Man walk halfway down the aisle. Sting tries to stop Savage, but Macho Man keeps walking down to the ring, and Sting leaves. In the end, Piper locks Hogan in a sleeper hold, and Hogan slumps down to his butt. And it looks like the referee drops his arm 3 times because the bell rings and Piper celebrates. However, I guess Hogan's foot or feet were under the bottom rope, which I didn't even catch. So the match is restarted. Then Macho Man pulls Brass Knuckles out of his leather jacket and hands them to Hogan. Hogan gets up and punches Piper, then pins him for the win. This was a confusing effing mess. Uncle Dave gave it a 1.25 stars. I give it 2 stars. What say you?
I gave it 2. Man, I remember just being pissed when this happened.
Did you know what the hell was even going on? Because they rang the bell and Piper started celebrating.
Because, well, not that part. But like when Macho Man came out, I kept my eye on him the whole time. Because during this era, everybody was joining the NWO.
Yeah.
So like I'm watching, like, oh my god, he's gonna screw Piper, and you just knew it the moment Sting left. So, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, when
I
the bell rang,
I do remember us cheering. If that's what you're asking, yes, we thought he had won.
Yeah, I mean, were you confused when they restarted? Like, is this after the match or?
Yeah, because I don't remember the announcer flat out saying it. Like, we're restarting the match. If he did, I didn't hear it. Now, anybody who watches back these old events, if you ever notice, like, go back and watch it. Watch any of them. You barely hear the ring announcer unless it's like Michael Buffer.
Yeah, right.
Like, you hardly ever hear Penzer ever. So I don't remember hearing him say restart the match if it was said.
Yeah, I really don't know. So either way, after the match, Macho Man joins Hollywood Hogan in beating the crap out of Roddy Piper. Savage spray paints NWO on Piper's chest before hitting him with 2 elbow drops and then holding him for 2 Hogan leg drops. Hogan celebrates with Savage, saying that this was for the outsiders, and then dumps the ref out of the ring before Savage drops another elbow on Piper. Uncle Dave said, quote, Savage turned heel and joined the NWO, which doesn't make storyline sense for at least a dozen different reasons, but whatever.
Yep, I didn't understand it whatsoever.
Yeah, so I didn't understand.
Because at the time, going back and looking at it, now I'm looking at it like in hindsight, there were not many big face stars. So when you have all the top guys in the NWO, it creates kind of a logjam for that. And like, okay, well, Hogan's a champ, so how Macho Man is not going to be champ. It's like, just stuff like that. I guess there was Luger the Giant, but that wasn't going to happen.
Yet.
Yeah, right. But it just, it was kind of stupid.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
Looking back at it, they watered down the NWO quickly. I didn't realize how quickly they did it. Now, it's still had traction, obviously. It was still hot, but...
WCW Nitro from August 4th, 1997.
Mean Gene Okerlund is standing in the ring now and calls out J.J. Dillon again.
JoJo.
Dillon joins him with papers in his hand. They discuss what's going on with Sting. Dillon says that they weren't sure if they could trust him there for a while, but now he's positive that WCW can put their trust in Sting. He says that they need him now to take on the NWO, and he has a contract for an opponent for Sting at a time and place of Sting's choosing. Sting repels from the rafters, and the crowd goes wild. He gets in the ring. J.J. Dillon says that they're past apologies, and he can't undo what's been done. However, he can try to rebuild trust with Sting, and he hands Sting a contract to take on Kurt Hennig.
What the fuck?
Oh, man.
Sting rips the contract in half and hands it back to Dillon before walking away. Dillon tells me, Gene, how he's going to figure out what Sting wants and then walks away. How the hell could they not, at this point, figure out what the hell Sting wanted? Why would he want Kurt Hennig? On what freaking planet would that be what Sting would have been brooding in the rafters for almost a year over?
It still to this day baffles me.
You know what?
I don't know what he wants.
I'll quit brooding and being an emo and come down finally. You know, as long as you give me Kurt Hennig, damn it. That's all I want.
Hennig's not even in the NWO yet.
Right.
So again, it makes no freaking sense.
It's not even a consolation prize at this point. But anyway,
Have we already get to the part where he offered him 6?
I think that's coming up next week. So he offers him, I think, 6 on the next show. So, yeah, that's.
So you want 6?
At least that's closer.
That's
but
faster. That's been under your skin.
Yeah,
since
right.
Fall Brawl 1996, and he literally debuts the night after.
You'll take it, and you guys will take each other on, and a loser wears a diaper match.
WCW Clash of the Champions 35.
After the show opens up, we see a replay from WCW Nitro this past week where WCW Commissioner J.J. Dillon calls out Sting to demand to know what he wants. When the crowd chants, Hogan, Hogan, Sting points at all of them, making it clear that he wants the WCW World Champion. And now...
I thought this was so stupid. I'm like, you didn't know that, JJ?
Yeah, it's like, what? I don't get it. You want Sting? What do you want? What is it you want, Sting? Just tell me. That was like the whole storyline for the longest time. It's like, what is it that you could possibly want, Stinger? Like, I don't know. Cruiserweight title.
Well, that's when he said it. I loved it when he was offering him NWO guys. He goes, I have a contract right here. Match against 6. I'm like, yep, that's what we're waiting for.
Oh yeah, man. I personally was waiting for Sting versus Virgil at Starrcade, but I mean, whatever. That would have drew the house.
That would have never happened, dude. There's too many butting heads and too many big egos.
Well, yeah. The real problem was they'd booked the venue too far in advance, and they didn't get a big enough venue to fit all the people in that would have wanted tickets to that.
And that's just the Saturday night Olive Garden crew that Vincent knows.
My gosh. Oh, Lord. Anyway. NWO flyers drop from the ceiling as the NWO celebrates in the ring. After commercial break, the rest of the NWO comes out to the ring, this time with Eric Bischoff. In the ring, Bischoff gets the crowd to wish the NWO a happy birthday. And
they do.
Yep. He then kisses up to Hall and Nash. He then he then complains that the NWO still doesn't have their own show. He says that Hollywood Hogan sends his love, and also Hogan demands bigger limos and newer Learjets. The lights then flicker, and a buzzing is heard as you can see wind is whipping around the arena. I don't know what was going on here, because I was like, is there a helicopter in the arena?
I couldn't tell, because there's obviously some kind of external audio. If you listen to it very closely, it feels like something was piped over the feed.
It sounds like it sounds, well, you can see wind is blowing too, because if you look, there's stuff kind of blowing around in the air. I was like, So air is blowing. I don't know why. I don't know. Somebody would have to explain this one. Either way, the NWO ends up looking up in the rafters where Sting has a vulture on his arm, and some asshole is shining a laser pointer on it. You know,
Yeah,
cool.
well, in the 90s, that was the thing, though, dude.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm going to blind this bird. How about you... I don't know. How about you go fornicate yourself? Sting's
Yeah,
theme...
I'm sure that's a real big insult, dude. He's not going to do it anyways. But you got him though, man.
Wow.
Or did it before and after the show. Anyways, move on.
The hell?
I'm not gonna let you outdo me. I'm gonna beat you to this. Sorry. Go ahead.
Sting's theme plays as a little boy's voice is heard reading a poem about a heart filled with vengeance before the lights drop. When they come back on, the vulture is on the top rope of the ring. Eric Bischoff cautiously walks up to it as Kevin Nash acts like he's going to whack it with the tag title belt.
It's a damn bird, dude. Like Nash looked like he was gonna just kill it and cook it for dinner, man.
Yeah, I mean, you do you, man. I don't know what buzzard tastes like. Eric Bischoff says that it would. On his podcast, I think I heard him say that it was supposed to have a note attached, like in its claw or whatever, that said Hogan, but the damn bird dropped it on his way to the ring, so they had to improvise.
Live TV, folks.
Yeah, I mean, like he said in retrospect, they should have tied it to his leg or something, but I don't know.
Hindsight's 20/20, man.
Yeah, or maybe it was tied to his leg and he couldn't get close enough to untie it, or I can't remember what the issue was, but yeah, whatever. What is it with Sting and birds, by the way? Because if you remember in TNA, he had that crow or whatever the F. Or, I mean, I guess that one made a little more sense, but still, it's like, quit giving him birds that he has to F with.
Well, it clearly goes right.
Yeah, right. Well, at least the one in TNA didn't do anything like stupid. It just kind of sat on the desk and like looked at Eric Bischoff. But
WCW Starrcade 1997.
But now we're here, man. The main event, it was Hollywood Hulk Hogan defending the WCW World title against Stang.
Ah, you got it right.
Yeah. I gotta give Michael Buffer's intro here just a little taste of it for what it was for Hogan, because they're so effing goofy. He's iconic, but god dang, his intros were goofy. Iconic! Gosh. He said this about Hogan. Coming to the ring at this time, wearing black and weighing 275 pounds, the man who is known all around the world by all sports fans and wrestling fans. His name is a household word. I didn't realize that Hollywood Hogan was a word.
Or a couple.
Yeah. His face and persona are known on all 7 continents. Well, that's good, because I was afraid that Antarctica didn't know him.
Hey, those Penguins, man, they love them some Hulk, all right?
Hell yeah. Tonight, he faces the greatest challenge of his career. Tonight, he faces the most enigmatic and mysterious challenger in the history of professional wrestling. Wait till 1998 when he takes on another face-painted guy who uses smoke and mirrors. Now in the archive,
well,
Halloween Havoc.
At least this was somewhat good.
Yeah. You know what, man? Well, I'll get to that in a minute. Sting had a freaking cool-ass entrance, by the way, that still holds up today. Just, if you're going to watch this match for anything, make it the entrance. He had, like, a laser light show in the ceiling. He had, like, it was cool. Like, the lightning effect. This match started off with Hogan delivering some attacks.
It was like a play on Michael Jordan coming out in the arena back then. That's what it was like.
Yeah, I can see that. And that was cool back in the 90s. I mean, it's cool today, but, you know. The match started with Hogan delivering some attacks. Sting fought back with drop kicks and applied the side headlock. Hogan sent Sting out of the ring and attacked him with the ring post and guardrail. Hogan performed a big boot and then pinned Sting for a 3 count after a leg drop. However, Bret Hart came down and attacked Nick Patrick and claimed that he counted the pinfall fast, even though he didn't. It was a normal 3 count. And he restarted the match with himself as the referee. Sting hit the Stinger Splash and locked in the Scorpion Deathlock. Hart called for the bell, and Sting won the title. All the WCW wrestlers hit the ring to celebrate with Sting, who looked at the camera after not speaking for a year and said, "Mamacita." And then the show went off the air. So
I didn't know what to say about that, by the way. He's not even kind of Mexican, but whatever. I mean, not that you have to be Mexican to say that, but it would make more sense.
Yeah.
What do white people say when we're happy? I don't know.
Hell if I know. This whole thing, man, was just what the F. Like,
first of all, like, why did they not just edit out the account on the network if they want to make it?
Well,
you know?
I don't think WWE cares that WCW had a botch.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that's true.
So, but Bischoff claimed they had to do a funky finish, whatever, because Sting showed up out of shape and untanned and not ready to work and blah, blah, blah. So they came up with this debacle instead of just having him beat Hogan clean. What the F? How did this make it better? Even if the fast count would have worked, how did that make it better?
I mean, it just made him look like a wuss who lost to got a second chance. To me.
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell? It didn't kill him. He still went on to be a huge star, and this was a thing. But, like, damn, this was bad. And,
well, you know, to be fair, like one thing Bischoff said on his podcast that I really stuck with me. He's like, when that happened, I didn't think about that, though. I was just happy Sting. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you have to see his point there. I know all the smarks and all the internet people are going to see that, but all I remember is my reaction when it happened. We were like jumping around the room, happy as hell. But
you were actually happy that Hogan lost?
Yeah, I was happy Sting won. I hated Hogan. He was heel.
Yeah. I thought you would still hold on to him.
No way. Not till the next year when he turned face again, or 99. Yeah.
Your lack of vitamins and prayers disturbed me, Greg. But yeah, this was something. I don't know why the hell. Just this all went down, and there's a rumor that Hogan told Patrick to count normal instead of do the fast count because he wanted to make himself look better. I don't necessarily buy into that, but
Nick Patrick vehemently denied that.
Yeah, so he's saying I wasn't paid off. I'm just an idiot that can't do my job.
Pretty much.
This man had a job until, like, through the duration of WCW, by the way, and then still was employed by WWE for many years thereafter.
Yeah, but they made him get rid of the mullet, so screw that, Patrick.
Yeah, but it's just like, God dang it, Kenny Powers. What the hell? I don't know. If you don't know who Kenny Powers is, throw it in your Google machine. But to wrap all this up,
like I said, I only remember the finish. It's, it sucked, but it sent everyone home happy. You saw the crowd he repped when he won. Yeah. I mean, I didn't see anybody like bitching or complaining, like, oh man, no, that was a horrible turnaround. He shouldn't have won now. They were all happy. How
dare he?
So they were all happy. So it's like,
And that's what, I get the point.
I'm not sitting here saying, oh, let's stop complaining about it. It was stupid, but it still worked. That's why I don't believe this was any kind of a death knell to WCW. I believe what happened after it, by taking the title from Sting, I believe that probably hurt.
Well, let's get into that. The feud between...
I was at the event where he won it back, by the way, in San Francisco.
Well, screw you.
So, just had to point that out.
Lovely. Well, the feud between Hogan and Sting continued after Starrcade. The outcome of the main event at Starrcade did not occur as planned, with the referee not making the pinfall fast count enough, or fast enough, rather. Many former WCW wrestlers who were at Starrcade believed that Hogan, through Eric Bischoff, instructed referee Nick Patrick to make the regular 3 count to protect himself and to make Sting and the debuting Bret Hart look weak. We already addressed that. To address this, the following WCW programming surrounding the controversy, replays of the count were shown and the World Heavyweight Championship was vacated. A rematch was made and Sting regained the title in a match at Super Brawl 8.
Could we give them some credit for, acknowledging that and playing off of it?
Yeah, not just being so what? Who cares?
Yeah,
move on.
Got to give some credit where it's due. At least they made a thing of it. So,
Yep.
As for much crap they get, there is some good stuff there. That's,
Right. And this card was fine. It was fine. There was good stuff. There was weird stuff. There was, I don't know. It was just stuff.
WCW Super Brawl 8.
It's Hollywood Hogan versus Sting for the vacant WCW World Heavyweight title. 16 and a half minutes. Sting starts off by sprinting to the ring. The bell sounds and Hogan starts whipping Sting with his weight belt and choking him with it because apparently DQs don't matter. He also, by the way, uses a chair about 9 minutes in, and the referee just warns him, hey, no chairs.
Just so you know.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I know you used your weight belt. I know you choked a man, and you've already used a chair, but don't do it again. I'm like, well, excuse the out of me. Hogan controls the majority of this one. When Charles Robinson checks on Hogan in the corner, Hogan pulls him in front of a Stinger Splash. Hogan then hits the leg drop while Nick Patrick comes down, and he only counts to 2. Hogan goes off on Patrick for not letting him cheat and not counting fast. He's like, hey, it's me, brother. like Patrick is in a state of psychosis or whatever. He's like, oh, Hulk, is that you? Oh, sorry, I didn't count fast.
I'm supposed to count fast this time, right?
Yeah, it's like, well, wait, next time, right? I promise. But Patrick doesn't disqualify Hogan for a low blow. However, I think he was out of position or something like that was the excuse. Sting finally hits the Stinger Splash and a Scorpion Death Drop. But as Hogan's going down, somehow he kicks Patrick. I think he kicked him in the nards, if I remember correctly. But this allows the NWO to run in, and Sting takes them all out. Okay, I missed this, because to me, it looked like Savage just slipped in the ring and then put the spray paint can down and then slid out. But did he hit Hogan with it?
I think he meant to.
Okay, because it looked like he just slid in. He was like, "Here's the spray paint," and then he left. I'm like, "Cool." I guess.
At this point, they're all broken up. I thought.
Yeah, I think he was doing it for Sting. Cause I don't know, because he just drops it and then leaves. I don't know. I could be wrong, but anyway, Sting pins Hogan and he wins the world title. Look, this match wasn't, quality-wise, just pure wrestling. It wasn't the greatest, but frickin' Dave gave it a half a damn. I at least gave it 2 stars. What say you?
I gave it 2. I was more into what was going to happen at the end of the match, to be honest with you.
I for one was disappointed that Sting didn't look directly into the camera and say "Mamacita."
Wow.
What? Repeat.
Why you got to bring that back up?
Because, man, he didn't say a word for a year. First thing he does, look in the camera, "Mamacita." But after the match, Sting grabs a spray paint and he
paints. Is his wife Mexican?
Not that I know of. But Sting spray paints WCW on Hulk Hogan's chest and stomach before celebrating and leaving. I gotta point out, by the way, Sting was just in a plain black singlet. No logos, nothing. Just all black.
Probably left him at home.
Yeah. It's like, crap, does anybody have a spare singlet? Sure, Stinger.
You always carry plain black plain black singlets backstage. It's a rule in wrestling.
Wait, Rick Steiner might have.
WCW Fall Brawl 1998.
It is War Games. About 20 minutes.
Or blood and guts if you prefer, whatever.
Good Lord. It's Team WCW versus NWO Hollywood versus NWO Wolfpack. This is the first of its kind. So There's three
It's
men
worth
on
noting. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna, there's three men on each team. The match can end at any time. There is no match beyond. So that's a big change. Also, everybody comes in at random. So in theory, all three members of NWO Hollywood could have come in one right after the other. And the last big change is that you can win by pinfall, which has never been a thing in the past. You had to win by submission or surrender or knockout. So, big changes here.
It's also worth noting this is the very last 4 Games pay-per-view. There was one more, but it's on Nitro. And I believe it's only one ring.
Yeah, it's in the triple cage.
So kind of historic for that reason.
Kind of the prelude to Lethal Lockdown.
Now, I did mention something a couple weeks ago. I want to say now before I forget. They say it. You'll hear it in the match. I know you probably did. Why is Sting in this match competing for a title match when he has a title match in his pocket the next night? This makes zero. Yes, they say it during the match.
Oh,
he's going to face
that.
Goldberg tomorrow night on Nitro for the world title. Like, why the hell is he in this match then? It negates
no
the thing.
Clue. Yeah.
And they do try to cover it in their defense. They say, well, it's a shot tomorrow night. And if he wins tonight, he doesn't have to win tomorrow night. He can have a shot at home and have it. But it's just stupid. None of it makes sense.
Well,
you could have had Conan in this. But
that was my thing with MJF. Like, I know logically why they're keeping him out of the world title tournament because he's not going to win. But he's like, well, I don't have to. And he's trying to cover it up, I know. But logically, he's kind of stupid. He's like, well, I already have a title match in my back pocket. I don't need to do this. Like, yeah, but like, couldn't that be your backup? Like, if you lose in the tournament, you still got that title match. Like, so
don't use logic.
Theory, yeah, so in theory, you've got 2 title matches, but whatever. Yeah. Anyway, the 2 men that start, 2 men start, and then members randomly enter one by one after that. Like I said, DDP and Bret Hart start. I mean, those would have been my choices too for the Iron Men. So, but
they carry the whole match. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, out next is Stevie effing Ray.
And this is where that was born, by the way.
Yep. If you got to get a third man to represent the NWO Hollywood, Stevie effing Ray.
Oh, man.
Okie doke. Sting for the Wolfpack.
Keep in mind, the better Harlem Heat guy is nowhere to be seen on this card.
Yeah, right.
Just point that out.
Right.
The 2-time Hall of Famer, the 6-time world champion, but Stevie Ray is on this card. Okay.
This is what I was talking about in theory, where it's like, because now you got 2 Hollywood guys out there with a WCW guy before the Wolfpack guy even enters, and now Sting comes out for the Wolfpack. He does his trademark dive from one ring over the ropes into the other. I always like that.
Literally, he invented it, I believe.
Yeah, I think the first time I saw him do that was in '95. He might have did it before then, but first time I saw it was '95. Roddy Piper comes out next for Team WCW, and for some reason starts
freaking madman, by the way.
Yeah, and he's for some reason starts beating up everyone, including DDP, who is his partner. I got to remind you. That's why I was confused. Is there a 4th team?
I overlooked this and I give it a pass because I'm like, it's Piper, he's nuts. So
yeah, but like DDP was selling for him and stuff, wasn't he? Like, dude, I'm your partner. What's going on? God.
Oh, Bobby even said it. The crazy man, he's in carry who he hits.
I guess so. Well, Lex Luger is out next for the Wolfpack. Kevin Nash
goes nuts, by the way, even though he's not over, like people say.
No, Greg. Nobody gave a crap. You shut your mouth.
I need to point that out every time. People always say, "Oh, no one likes Luger." Shut the hell up. Listen to the reactions he gets.
I know.
What are you hearing?
Nobody cheered for him. You could hear a pin drop. Like, oh, for God's sake!
You couldn't hear a freaking bomb go off outside because how loud it was inside. So,
right. Kevin Nash is now out for the Wolfpack, but as the Wolfpack is dominating, Hollywood Hogan sneaks out before his time and beats them all up with a slapjack. Here's where I said I'm not sure if he's legally in the match since he came out early.
No, they make it a point, though, when they say it later. Oh, he's in there now. I don't know.
Effing stupid.
Stupid.
But when the NWO Hollywood is dominating, the cage fills with smoke, and a Warrior impersonator pops up, who, by the way, was actually the Renegade.
Was it really?
Yeah, it's since been revealed that was a Renegade.
I thought it was Brutus.
Oh man, that would have been funny. But they only show him from behind, so you can't really see him. Only the crowd can. But either way, he pops up out of the smoke, and he gets his crap kicked in.
Right.
I'm like,
finally got him.
Yeah, I'm like, what's the point of this? And then the ring fills with smoke again, and he disappears. Bro, he's gone forever, bro.
You know, it sounded like Hogan was like, what the hell's going on? I don't understand. I don't know. He's walking back and forth.
Oh, my gosh. But now the real Warrior runs to the ring to round out Team WCW and beat up all of NWO Hollywood.
Okay. Real quick, before you go on, I need to point something out. Okay, so let's just say this is where Bulldog got hurt. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so for the sake of argument, maybe the next line, maybe here, I don't know. If it was here, and Warrior ended up, like the actual Warrior, ended up not using the trap door, what the fuck was the point?
No, the impersonator had to use the door, man.
Oh my god, it makes no sense still to me, though. So the guy broke his back and potentially ended his career for an impersonator?
Yeah, for a 2-second spot that was dumb as F. Yeah. Yes. Yes, Greg. Yes, you're right. You're onto something. Speaking of dumb as F, the Disciple runs out now, and he pulls Hollywood Hogan out of the cage before he locks it behind him. The Warrior breaks out and beats up Hogan and the Disciple before security breaks it up. Why? Don't know. This
okay.
Hogan.
I gotta be real. When I was a kid and he did that, I kind of lost it. I thought it was cool that he kicked the hell out of the cage and broke out. There's something about it that was cool to me as a kid. Now I can see like the logic, but it looked cool.
I will disagree with this first part, but I'm going to use this somewhat same logic here. There's a guy I watch on YouTube that says he can't enjoy the new House of the Dragon show, which is a prequel to Game of Thrones. He said, I can't enjoy it because it all leads to the terrible season 8 of Game of Thrones. So that's always in the back of my mind. Well, even if this was cool, I can't enjoy it because all roads lead to Halloween Havoc 1998.
So true.
So there you go. But either way, security breaks this up and it allows Hogan and Disciple to escape. If people don't know who the Disciple is, it's Beefcake.
Who?
Brutus the effin' Barber Beefcake.
Yeah.
He's got the same. As a kid, I had no clue.
I had zero clue too. I had no idea. It's insane how night and day he is.
Yeah.
Because the last time we'd seen him, and I might be wrong on this, correct me, but the last time we'd seen him, he was the booty man. So I did not piece this together.
I don't see how the booty man didn't fit in the New World Order. I don't get that one.
Well, he tried. They accepted him for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Beat the hell out of him.
He's had like 500 gimmicks just in WCW alone.
There is a YouTube video. I urge people to go watch it if you get bored on the gimmicks of Ed Leslie. It's funny as hell.
I bet it is. But anyway, in the cage, DDP hits Stevie effin' Ray with a diamond cutter and pins his ass to win, as he should have. Get his pin his bitch ass.
My only note on here is he was literally in there to get the pin. Now it makes at least some sense.
Why couldn't that have been Beefcake?
It could have been Vincent.
Oh, Lord. That would have been worse.
Actually, you know what, though? Honestly, it could have been Scott Norton. At least I would have added a little bit of credibility to it.
Yeah.
Could have been Buff Bagwell, too.
Oh, yeah, him, too, yeah. Well, no, he had to feign injury for the 500th time earlier. This is one of the worst War Games matches ever. Uncle Dave.
Also want to point out, by the way, because you just mentioned this all roads lead to Halloween Havoc. We're about to get one of
the best matches in WCW. We actually already reviewed the best match in history. Wait, did we? No, sorry. That's my notes for next time. We're about to get one of the best matches in WCW history. Okay? But it's worth pointing out now, because I didn't realize until you just said that in order to get there, DDP had to beat Stevie Ray.
Well, hallelujah.
That makes it even funnier.
Yeah.
In order to get Goldberg in the world title, you got to get through Stevie Ray.
Well, yeah, man, he's an edgelord. He's one of
he's
one of the underbosses. But Uncle Dave gave this -4 stars.
Okay, it was not that bad.
Yeah, no buys. I gave this 2 stars, and I'm going back and forth on that one. What say you?
I as well gave it 2, and then also going back and forth. There was a couple of moments that were cool. I have to remember when I was a kid how much I loved Warrior breaking out of the cage. And,
right.
Now I look back with hindsight, it's like, wow, British Bulldog's career ended because they had to get a 2-second cameo from apparently the Renegade.
Well, yeah. I mean, it makes sense to me.
Worse.
I don't know what you don't get, Greg. Makes perfect sense to me. It all adds up. Anyway.
Oh, it adds up to something, yes.
DDP goes into the crowd after the match to celebrate, per usual. This event was extremely underwhelming, and I'm being generous. What the hell was this show? Uncle Dave said,
now you see why this was the last ever War Games.
Well, Uncle Dave says that it's going to be near the top of the list of worst pay-per-views of all time.
Okay, I disagree with that. There's far worse.
Oh, yeah.
Is it in the category? Yes, but in the top of the list? Hell no.
Is it within sniffing distance? Yeah, okay.
WCW Fall Brawl 1999.
But in the ring, Mean Gene Okerlund introduces his guest, Sting, to come out to the ring.
Which is still happening to this very day, folks.
Yeah, not with Mean Gene, but yeah. Sting says that Lex Luger is really close to losing his friendship. Oh, no. And that he doesn't have any issues with...
Now, Sting's friendship might mean something, though.
Yeah, I know, but it's just...
I'm talking about Joe Schmo here.
I know, I just like how that's a threat in a wrestling promo. I'm really close to not being friends with you anymore. Like, oh no! But anyway, he says he doesn't have any issues with Hulk Hogan until their match tonight. Oh, well, that's good. When Okerlund asks Sting what he thinks about potentially being the 9-time WCW champion tonight, Sting grabs the mic and says that he's back in black, and it's showtime tonight. Cool. My biggest note for this is, why is this segment happening on a pay-per-view? This is like a Nitro segment.
I literally have that written down, too. Like was I watching a pay-per-view or an episode of Nitro?
Yeah.
My only thought is, I don't remember off the top of my head, my only thought is maybe a match got canceled or something, and they need to fill some time. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's like, my thing was like, dude, why are you going to kill the pop for the main event by bringing Sting out now? Like, because by the main event, they're like, we already seen him. I don't know, I just think that's stupid.
Because they're going somewhere completely more idiotic with the main event, dude. Okay? But I know, you don't want to get ahead of yourself. I can
excuse the hell out of me, yeah. The build-up package for the main event shows us that Lex Luger has been trying to convince Sting that Hulk Hogan was driving the infamous white Hummer that kept taking people out. When did this first debut? Do you remember the white Hummer thing?
I know it was on Sting. And I remember, I don't remember like the exact date, but I do remember thinking it was Kevin Nash. I want to say it was after Hog Wild. I remember vividly watching it thinking I had it pegged. It was Nash. That was my thinking.
And the thing is, they used that white Hummer like multiple times, and that's one of those WCW things, like, it never had a finish.
Which is really weird, because that never happens in WCW.
Yeah, right. Like, they never, and I think Conrad even asked Eric Bischoff, because he was the one that started. He was like, okay, who was the driver of the white Hummer? Do you even know? And he's like, I don't even think we had a, he's like, it was one of them, we're going to do this, and we'll figure it out later kind of things, and we never figured it out. But, anyway, he also tried to convince Sting that Hogan was a scam artist, and that he's constantly working against Sting. I actually have that bandana shirt combo that Hogan has at this time. My mom randomly bought it for me off of eBay one time for a birthday. But speaking of outfits, I want to know what the actual hell Michael Buffer is wearing here. Did you...
You don't like him looking like that?
That effing shirt, dude. I was like, where the F did you find that thing?
Well, he was probably running late, so he went to the North Carolina
Goodwill?
Outlet? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, good grief. It's just ridiculous. But before the opening bell, Bret Hart randomly comes out to wish both men luck, and then he just walks to the back. Okay. I guess to establish he's there. But
yeah, because he was gone after Owen had passed. And I think this is his big, I'm coming back.
Okay. That makes sense. But anyway, this is Hulk Hogan defending the WCW World Heavyweight title against Sting in just shy of 15 and a half minutes. This match basically seems like every Hogan-Sting match ever. Hogan's doing a bit less heel stuff, but it's all pretty much the same. DDP actually rushes out near the end, and he knocks out the referee before hitting the Diamond Cutter on Hogan and dragging Sting on top of him. For the near fall, DDP hits the Diamond Cutter on the referee now, and Bret Hart comes out, attacks DDP, and then Sid Vicious and Lex Luger run in, and they get taken out by Hogan. Luger had handed Sting his black baseball bat, and after some waiting around and stalling, Sting beats down Hogan with the bat, knocking him down. He locks in the Scorpion Deathlock, and as the new referee now says that he's passed out, awarding the match to Sting. Uncle Dave gives this a 1.5 stars. I give it 2.5 for average. What say you?
I gave it 2. But, man, it's like, I remember watching this, I'm like, why the hell did they make Sting bad? What the hell sense did any of that make?
Right. Yeah, it's just
because
weird.
honestly, I don't think the fans ever started booing him. Maybe a couple here and there, but like that was still Sting, dude.
I feel like they thought that they needed some big time heels since Hogan was face again and Nash was gone.
Sting?
I guess I don't know, man. His heel runs were weird. But after the show, Eric Bischoff was effectively fired from WCW. Technically, he was reassigned to a new position in the Turner organization, but make no bones about it, he was fired. A number of issues led to Bischoff's firing, including numerous bad deals, falling TV ratings, declining attendance, and poor pay-per-view buy rates, among others. WCW is temporarily...
They haven't even tipped the sword with bad pay-per-view buy rates yet, huh?
Yeah, right. WCW is temporarily being run by Bill Bush, who was a WCW executive and has been promoted to Bischoff's former position of executive vice president. TV producer Craig Leathers has the final say on creative decisions, and the booking committee is the same as it has been. The booking committee is actually Kevin Nash, Dusty Rhodes, and Kevin Sullivan. So there you go.
And we're back. I hope you all enjoyed that. I sure did, listening back to this, editing it. It was fun. I really enjoyed it, more than I even thought I would. So that was cool, and hearing Greg again was cool, our banter back and forth. It was always a really fun time and a highlight of my week to sit and record the podcast with him. Unfortunately, I won't be doing that this year, so that really sucks. But, you know, we still have this to remember the good times, and I hope you all had a good time as well. And I hope you go back in the podcast archives and listen to it all. All those events that we talked about are in full in the archives, and they were all very fun. If you go back and check those out, and if you haven't listened to last week's episode, please go and do that. We talk about Sting and Vader, which we loved. It was goofy at times, but it was great, and goofy in the best of ways. And Sting versus Ric Flair, which was probably his greatest feud of all time, and one of Ric Flair's greatest feuds as well. And that one, it wasn't a feud, it was a friendship by the time they hit AEW, but it continued on into AEW. So that's it's cool just to see them in the same vicinity one more time. But yeah, there you go, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed it. Like I said, go back, check out the archives. If you want to follow us on social media, it's at mainevent_marks on Twitter and on Instagram. On Facebook, I don't really pay attention, so I wouldn't suggest following us on there, but I'll hit you up on other forms of social media, whether it be Instagram and Twitter. I haven't been keeping up with Instagram as much because I don't get as much play on there, but if I get more followers, maybe I'll keep up with it more. But thank you all for tuning in today, and maybe next week we'll hit you with some Sting and TNA. I'm still trying to decide and see if I have the time or not. We'll also have a pre-WrestleMania episode coming out before WrestleMania. It's going to cover some of the best stuff we've ever covered from the history of WrestleMania on the podcast, so check that out. But I have been Troy. Please follow us on social media. Give us a follow. Give us a subscribe on YouTube, and we will see you all next time.